who tapped you in, and thanks again. Okay, good evening. So, yep. So this welcome again to JuniorDev. This is our I can't remember how many meetups we've had already. So this is quite a lot. Um, a bit more about JuniorDev. So JuniorDev was started quite a number of years ago. When I felt there was a need in the industry for like a support group for junior developers, support group for freshman software engineers like yourself, right? And even students and fresh graduates. So yeah, so it's we started this as a way of letting people to share their ideas and also find like-minded individuals who could then help each other, encourage each other in our journey. And yeah, so you can find us on social media, Twitter, and I think it's a Facebook group there as well. The Slack one is not active, so don't go there. Sorry about that. Yeah, so our website is there, and you can find us on the socials. And a bit of code of conduct. So just to share a bit. So Singaporeans are nice. Folks in Singapore are nice people. We are very friendly. So, but just in case, be good to each other. Everyone is welcome. Leave a gap for others to join your conversation. Don't backing out. You will see or hear something, say something. Come talk to me. Come talk to Max over there. Or and then yeah, if you see or find someone's harassing you or being a nasty person, yeah, come tell me and I'll see what I can do. Yeah. Okay. And before we go next, before we go further, we want to welcome Zoe from Rakuten, who will be sharing with us a little bit more about what Rakuten is. And let me stop sharing over here. So the food and venue is sponsored by Rakuten, and Zoe will tell you a bit more about what they do and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, so hi everybody. So I'm actually part of the talent acquisition team in Rakuten. So just gonna share a little bit more about my organization. So I think most people probably heard of Rakuten as an e-commerce site, which is called Rakuten Ichiba. So we actually founded in 1997 for just Ichiba, which is the e-commerce platform. But of course, right now, we have actually over 70 different businesses and we have a presence in 30 over countries. And in Japan, we are actually the largest e-commerce company. So to give kind of like an oversight of all the companies within Rakuten Singapore, this is just a brief of everything that is in Singapore's office. So a little bit about our mission and vision. So we do wish to contribute to society by creating value through innovation and entrepreneurship, and also to become a global innovation company. As 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 part of like our globalization, we do have partnerships with various global brands such as Golden State Warriors, as well as Rakuten Eagles. We also partner with celebrities such as Shakira and Comrie. So I think a little bit about our offices. So as you guys are all right now here in Capital Green, and we actually do have like an open office concept. So this is just an example of how our other levels look like. So we are actually located across 4 levels in the building. We have level 8, level 7. Level 7 is our newest level, as well as level 29, which is our event space. And our main office is actually at level 32. So our pantry is also, our office is actually featured in the Smart Local a couple of years back as well. So apart from that, right, in terms of culture, we do support quite a lot of like interest groups, and we will arrange like lunch and learn sessions for our employees. And in terms of tech events, oh, I think start of late last year, we started collaborating with a lot of different meetup groups, and we will organize at least one tech events every month. And just to let everybody know, we are actually certified as a great place to work for 2 times in a year. And last not least, here are some of our current job openings, and also do follow us on our social media platforms. Thank you.
Just give you a moment to scan this. People who need to scan it, quick scan. You like QR codes, don't you? Sorry. Take your time. Wait, I also take picture for a friend. Okay. I got it. Oops. Oh, never mind. You can just bring your laptop to her to scan. Okay. Awesome. Try and share again. Do-do-do. Where is that? Ah, there you go. Okay, so today we have 2 speakers, or about 3 speakers. Yes, 3. Yeah, I'm off by 1. You know, all those things in computer science. Offset. Anyway, so we have 3 author speakers, and they'll be sharing with us a little bit about awesome things. Tammy, who is a associate quality engineer at GovTech, also a colleague of mine, working in around the same office. Yeah, and we play Switch games together, you know, kind of thing. So yeah, so she'll be sharing us a little bit about what's it like being a quality engineer in GovTech. And also we have 2 other speakers, Max and Ken, who will be sharing us a bit about VIM, right? So first up, we have Tammy. Yay.
Catch the.
Yeah.
Okay, hello. Hi everybody. Yeah, so thanks Michael for introducing me. So today my topic will be on a day in the life of a QE. Okay, but technically I'm not gonna go through my day lah. I'm just gonna talk about some tools and some things that I do. So okay, let's start. So today I'll be talking about these things, which is my role as a QE, the different types of testing, the different testing frameworks, and then I'll go through some tools that I use for automated testing. Okay, so the first one. So I'm not sure how many of you have experience as a QE or with testing. So I'll just summarize. So basically, what a QE does, right? In the name quality engineer, we try to ensure the quality of the product. Okay, so there are some different ways to do that. For example, test plans and test scenarios. We'll design them. Create automated test scripts. Performance and security testing, exploratory and manual testing. So that one is, for example, trying to find bugs in the system, trying to find out things that break the system. Monitoring and automation pipeline. So for example, every morning we push code, developers push code. It will run against all the tests that the testers have written to make sure that nothing breaks. Yes. And then last one is release and deployment support. So yeah, when you deploy code, we need verification. When you deploy code, you need tests, yeah, stuff like that. So that's generally what a QE does. So for all of you guys, I know you're quite familiar with what once is like. So there's a product backlog, you take stories, then you take the stories into your sprint, and then you plan, you implement, and there's review and retro. So when can a QA actually be involved in this whole process? Yeah. One might think that maybe it's just after implementation, then we test, right? So obviously the answer is not just there lah. That's why I'm putting up this this infographic. So the idea is that actually a QA can be involved all the way at the start. So these are just some stages inside a sprint, not limited to this. So for example, during backlog refinement, a QE can actually include testing efforts in the backlog item estimation. So we can decide how much time is spent on this item, how many things that we need to test, etc. And then in the next step, in sprint planning, we can come up with test scenarios together with the devs to decide what is required for this story based on the AC. AC is acceptance criteria. Then during development, we can actually write the automated test concurrently with development. So you might think that you need to finish the dev code first and then we test. But actually, with some of the tools later that I'll go through, we can do it concurrently. Then this way, it's kind of like test-driven development, which I will talk a little bit about later. And after development, we can start doing more exploratory testing. So instead of testing what the developers develop based on requirements, we can actually save some time because we are testing during their development, and instead we can do more edge case testing after that. So this is just some ways that we can be involved during a sprint. So next I will go through a bit about the different types of testing. So I'm sure you guys have seen this pyramid before. So this is the testing automation pyramid. So how this pyramid is designed is that at the bottom, you can see we need a lot of these tests. So unit tests are the tests that you should write the most of, and it should also test the small components. Then as you go up, you should write less of these tests because it costs more to test them and it takes more time, but it tests more things. So unit tests only test like your function, how your function is supposed to do. Integration test is how this test interacts with, how your feature interacts with external components, such as external APIs, database, web services, etc. And then end-to-end test, you use a test environment to check that all your features are running correctly. So this is just the different types of testing. Another way to visualize it is also through this testing quadrant. So you can see there's like a scale like this and like this. So business facing means like what the users want to see. If I want to design an app to transfer money, then they must be able to transfer money. Then technology facing is like performance. So if I'm gonna design an app to transfer money, how fast can the money be transferred? And okay, this is just an example. So on this scale, you can see the different types of testing. And it's not that one quadrant is more important than the other. It's just that it helps us visualize the different tests we need to make one feature. Yeah, so okay, this is just a visualization tool. Okay, then next we will talk a bit also about the different frameworks. So on top of these tests, we can actually have another layer. So for example, behavior-driven development. So just now we were talking about business requirements. So tests can be written such that we explain what the business owners or product owners want the product to do. So for example, I want to transfer money. So then I write the test in a way that I literally say, hey, I want to transfer money. Then the test has to do exactly that thing. So it helps the developers focus on what's requested, helps document the things that the app's supposed to do also. The another framework is also test-driven development that you guys are more familiar with, where you write the test first and then you develop. You write a failing test first, and then you develop until the test passes. Then you refactor, then you write another test, and you develop. So the cycle is here. You can see you write, you pass, then you refactor. So the thing that I wanted to raise here is that it's not just limited to unit tests. I know developers are more familiar with writing unit tests first, but actually automated tests, we can also write a failing one first before it passes. So one example could be, for example, I want to click this button to go to the next page. Then you can actually automate this clicking process. Well, first it's gonna fail because the button is not there lah. But after you go the button, then it'll pass and then it'll move to the next page, and then you can test. So that's the same idea. Yeah. So after we go through these things, we can go and talk about the tools. So some of the tools that we use for automated testing are here. I will talk about each one of them. So first one is Selenium. It's a browser automation tool. It executes remote commands across the network, and the Selenium suite consists of these three things: the IDE, so it helps you record and play. Then there's the Selenium grid that allows the test to run on different browsers and different OS. So you can run in parallel in like Chrome, Firefox, Edge, and it has like a hub and several nodes, so you can run it in parallel. And the last one is Selenium WebDriver. So I'll explain a bit about how Selenium WebDriver works. So Selenium WebDriver architecture is like this. So we have our Java code that is written for our test scripts. Then the Java code will actually, because the code cannot communicate with the client, the browser directly. So what happens is Selenium actually uses this JSON wire protocol to transfer data from here to here. So if the code is like, hey, click this button, then the protocol will have an endpoint to call, then they will click the button. So it's like, boom, boom. Yeah. Then, so the idea is that it's a bit slower because you have to go through this thing and it's accessing from a remote place instead of accessing the browser itself. But this is the general idea. So after using this, there's some pros and cons that I've come up with. I guess you can also ask ChatGPT. You don't just have to ask me. Then the idea is that the Selenium is open source. You can write it in pretty much any scripting language. I write it in Java, so anything can be done. And then it supports different browsers. You can do parallel testing with it also, and it's also compatible with different OS. But the thing about Selenium is that setting up the framework takes a lot of time, and you can't actually use it for testing. Yeah, and also you need third-party libraries for other features, like if you want reports, you need to like install stuff. Okay, so that's Selenium. Then we'll move on to Appium. So Appium, okay, I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah, so it's actually the same thing but mobile apps. So Selenium, I mentioned just now that you cannot use it for mobile apps. And that's because the protocol doesn't allow us to access those extra API methods that Appium created for the mobile apps. Yeah, so this is just like an add-on. And the benefits of this is that on top of Selenium is that you can do mobile app testing. Okay, then the next one is Catalan. So, okay, there's a screenshot later, but Catalan in general is a low-code browser automated testing framework. So it's like a studio. You can, okay, I'll just show you actually. Lol source. Okay, so you can see, right, it's a UI kind of thing. Then you can actually record test cases and like access all the code that you want from here. It's more for those people that do not really want to learn how to code, then you can use this. Yeah. But there's also a scripting function. So if you really super duper want to use this and you really super duper want to code also, then I guess you can script in Groovy, but they only support one language. So the benefit of this is that it's low code, user friendly. It has an intuitive dashboard, so it has built-in reports. You can just like generate reports from the UI also, and it also has integrated CI/CD. But the bad thing is also that it can only be done. Scripting can only be done in Groovy, and it's not open source, so you can't pay lah. So if you reach also, then you know. Okay, I'm kidding. So lastly, because how Catalan works is that it actually has it is actually on top of Selenium WebDriver. So Selenium WebDriver is already a bit slower because it's remote and it accesses the browser through the protocol. So this one is like one more layer on top of that. So it's definitely a little bit more slow compared to Selenium. Okay, then I'll go through this one, Cypress. So Cypress is JavaScript based. So just now, we're talking about Java, like Selenium, and we're talking about a studio that you can just click, and now Cypress is only JavaScript based. So what it does is that it manipulates the browser directly using, so basically it runs in the same loop as your application. So you don't need to access the browser remotely. It just runs in your browser. So because of that, right, it's actually a lot faster. So where Selenium, right, we're running from a remote place to the browser. So one of the benefits is that Cypress is easy to set up. If you are using Node to develop your apps, then it's just running in the same loop. And okay, I don't know if you are familiar with Selenium, but sometimes for Selenium, if you try to click on stuff, you can't click on them because you need to wait for the element to show up first before you click on them. So there's problems like this, but for Cypress, there's already inbuilt weights for you. So then you don't have to automatically, you don't have to code the weights yourself. So it's just a lot more convenient. But the bad thing about Cypress is that if you want to do tests in multiple browsers, it's not possible. So if you want to like open one browser, click, and then you close, you can't do that. And if you want to run tests in parallel, you also can't do that unless you download certain plugins. Yeah. And lastly, if you're very good at JavaScript, then good for you. But if not, then this one only supports JavaScript or TypeScript. Okay, then lastly, I'll talk a bit about Playwright, but I personally haven't used it myself. So it's up and coming. It's a new library. It uses browser library to access the browser. So it's actually also within the browser itself. So it's faster than Selenium. But it's up and coming. So the community is not as wide and there's not as much help as the rest. But there's still help lah. Yeah. So you know what in life, right? No, I'm kidding. Okay, so yeah, so it's a good tool for us to try. Yeah. Then one of the benefits of Playwright is that they can take automatic snapshots at each point in the testing run. So as a test run, you can actually see what the browser looks like at that instant and then inspect the browser. So that's something that's cool about it. I personally haven't tried it, so I cannot really say my experience using it. Yeah, so now I'm just listing some tools, but previously I mentioned behavior-driven development. So there's actually another tool also that can help with it. Okay, so I'll talk a bit about Cucumber. So how Cucumber works is that it can integrate with any of these tools that I mentioned below. So you can actually have Cucumber together with Selenium, or Cucumber with Cypress, or Cucumber with Catalan. It's just how you put them together. And how Cucumber works is that it helps support behavior-driven development. So it reads executable specifications in English, and then it runs code base. So let me show you some of an example after this. So we write written text based on user requirements, and it's written in Gherkin. So Gherkin is a language that supports like given, when, then. And then each step is mapped to a function. And then after that, after you run your test, you can also see the reports. So here's one example. So for example, okay, so the left side of your left side, my right side, your left side is the Gherkin language. So this is the step. We have given today is Sunday. Then on your right side, you can see the function. So I will, for example, set a variable to be Sunday. Then let's say I have another line, say, when I ask whether it's Friday yet. So then you will map literally a sentence to the function. Oh yeah, okay, it is Friday. And then the then sentence will be an assertion. So what do I expect this test case to do? Then I'll map it to, yeah, I assert that it is gonna tell me no or yes based on whether it's Friday or not. So this is just a general gist of what Cucumber does and how it works. Yeah, so some of the benefits of Cucumber is that we can express our requirements in human readable form. So instead of writing testing code like, hey, click this, click that, you can tell in English what we're supposed to do. It helps with usability because let's say I keep needing to log in. I log in. I don't have to keep coding login. I can just write the English word. I need to log in like a few times. But the bad thing is that because it's written in English, I mean, it's kind of redundant sometimes. If I want to write too many things like, and a user clicks this and does this and does this, it's not as efficient as writing code. Yeah. So here are some pros and cons. So ultimately, a testing tool, there's many different testing tools and there's many things you can choose from. But ultimately, a testing tool should be decided based on your project requirement, your team's technical competencies. So for example, what language are you more comfortable with? Whether you want to code or you want to code. And you have to determine which of these pros are more important to you. So based on what you value, you can therefore choose the testing tool. Yeah, so in summary, this is what I plan to go through. So in summary, a QA's role, you can actually start as early as backlog refinement in a sprint. For the different types of testing, you can't just focus on one test. You can't just do unit tests and then like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do like 25,000 unit tests and my app is gonna be successful. But the idea is you need different types of tests. Then for your testing framework, it's another layer, so you need to decide. You can actually have multiple testing frameworks together where you can decide based on your requirements what you need. And lastly, for your tools, it should be chosen based on what you need and what you're more comfortable with. Yeah, so okay, with that, it sums up my presentation. Yep. Thank you.
So if you have any questions for Tammy, you can talk to her after the second speaker. Okay, next up we have Ken and Max.
Yep. Using this one. Speaker. My speaker is open.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Where is the Zoom?
So complicated.
So many. I help you. Okay. I help you.
Thank you. Hello. Thank you, Rakuten and JuniorDevSG, giving me a chance to talk here. Regarding my passion about VIM. I don't know. Okay, okay. I will go first, and then Liping will come after me, and then we will conclude, and then maybe if time allows that, then we can do some demo if you want to see it. May I know how many people are using VIM or started to use VIM? Wow. Okay. okay. I mean, like it's a hello. Currently using, right? I assume. So okay, but still, I would say 30% of our attendance. Okay. I tried to consolidate my thought because I think we have so many things to share about WIMs when we talk about our passion. So I tried to follow my own slide if I'm possible to. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I will go for the second one. Okay, who am I? First of all, Paise. I can actually introduce myself. Hey, wait. Yeah. Okay, my name is Ken. I'm from GovTech, as you can see. Yeah, that's my email and then my profile. It doesn't matter actually. Of course, there's this disclaimer that actually anything that above, below that I'm talking actually is my own personal view, not representing any organization or Any parties? Okay. Hello. What's VIM? Okay, VIM is an editor. Okay, we kind of know it, but it's for me, it's literally really it's an editor, just like your Notepad++, just like your Visual Studio, but without all the plugins and all these things. Just like Nano, if you are using. So, even though it's just an editor, but why people like still obsessed about it? Then I will show you a bit why I am one of the person that also obsessed with then after I have been encountered with this. Okay, so why VIM? Because I believe everyone mostly is our dev, right? So as a dev, inside our heart, there's like a geek inside it. We want to learn something. We want to learn something cool. We learn it, and then we want to show it, right? That's mainly for. What is it? It's mainly for showing off. So, but my showing off is not the bad way of showing off. What I mean is like we just want to show what we know, what we knew, what we learned, and how our setup. Just like you are tuning a car. So you slowly tune it, and then up to a point that you want to say that, okay, this my car is on the best shape. I want to show to other people, right? You want to run on the street and then boom, boom, and you cut all your absorber and then make it louder, right? So that's the same kind of feeling. So why VIM again? Okay, for me, it gives me the zone out kind of feeling. Like when you do a coding like without distraction, because when we see okay, just an example, Visual Studio, you have a lot of the ding ding dong dong around the area. You have a lot of mini map. You have a lot of icons everywhere. So sometimes I would think that it's too much for me. So, and more importantly, it's also not about all the icons and things, except for the distracting. I'm actually buying the VIM philosophy, but I don't know if anyone actually knew or heard about the anonymous. Is anonymous the example of what VIM philosophy is? It's like an artist when you are drawing a painting kind of things. It's like mostly you will know that VIM is like a modal system. Which means that you are switching from normal mode into an insert mode, into a X mode, command mode, visual mode, whatever mode you have. It's like a different state of when you are crafting. So the philosophy is about, I'm drawing a painting. Most of the time, I'm not editing. Most of the time, you are not drawing the thing. Most of the time, you are thinking. You think, okay, what should I do? I should move the code from here to here. And I'm going to delete 2 words, add 3 words, kind of thing. I'm not like always in the insert mode, and then everything automatically will be sui. It will not like that, right? So the idea is like, I think of it, I want to insert, I put 1 step, I draw, I come out and think again. I want to do something, I go in, I draw again. So that's the idea of how we relate. They make an example for it. So yeah, little did I know that actually after I jump into the journey for converting, there's no turning back, because you would not let go what you set up. You will not let go. Actually, most of the time that they have this funny memes that say that the learning curve of VIM is like a wall, right? But actually, if you climb over the wall, you most likely cannot come back also. That's why, right? So you will not let go. Okay, my journey to VIM is like, I started using VIM 2018 around the area. It's like this might be the 6 years. Actually, I'm still young. But in VIM world, you never grow old. You always learn, always new thing, right? You always found that in the Reddit of a VIM, everything you have something new. it's like ever learning journey, I would say. It's just like not like the journey that's a very bad journey. It's like when you are going to a nirvana like that, you are like journey to the west, like Monkey King like that. It's good one. It's fun, I would say. I was an avid webstormer by JetBrains one. I believe their products are really good. But I also using IntelliJ one for Java. Not everything VIM out there. So I think they really put a lot of thought in their products. So actually I'm really productive using WebStorm 6 years ago. So I would not let go easily for what I already built up my memory muscle, my muscle memory. So in order for me to give up and try something new, I need to figure out first what my plan, as in my daily workflow could actually provide me. So there are some cornerstones that I need to make sure that is set before I really jump into the hole. So I will finding one by one. First of all, I need to able to if I can type in, then cannot. There's have to be ease when you are typing. Second one is never mind. Oh, I say beep. Okay, second one is file navigation. I am like a visual guy a bit on my file structure, especially for I would say a new code base that you never hit before. I want to see the structure. How was it? So actually, I need the drawer. So somewhat, and navigation of files also is what I need, because sometimes you will be jumping 3, 4 files on and off each other. So in WebStorm, I will use a tab. So actually, it's quite easy to like a command or control 1, control 2, control 3. I can swap it, but I need that thing. The third one is of course search and replace. There's a strict there. Search and replace is for my usage is like I most likely need to maybe refactor arguments. They are in the scope. They are not like I don't need to like replace the whole code base with a certain word. There's no such a use case for me, but there might be for some other. Everyone's knowledge might be different. So that's what I might search and replace. Oops. Okay. And then of course the third one is the source control. If you can give you some basic pull, push, and diff, that will be good enough. That's my cornerstone. Between I need these 4 things. Okay. First thing, typing coding with ease. Actually, I think I should just tap all the way. If not, then I also don't know where am I. Okay, never mind at the plugins. Okay, first of all, first thing about VIM is that you heard they will say that you don't need the mouse anymore. Yeah, that's what actually touted to me. Say, hey, you don't need mouse. Oh, okay, you can save $10 for my mouse. It's good, right? Hey, I'm like, not loud. Actually, the mouse is very unhealthy for your carpal tunnel hand, okay? Actually, I do have a friend that really get switch to VIM because they really don't want to use a mouse for carpal tunnel. Okay, but I need to know. But I know that I need to learn all the strokes, right? I'll show you later. I think Max leaving later will show you a bit of what are the strokes, basically the painting stroke, I would say. And then of course there are some mappings that we need to do for typing, ease of typing. So you will have basics, you will have more advanced mapping, but along the way it's a journey, right? It won't end. So actually today you learn some mapping that is very basic, but tomorrow you have a specific usage for your particular macro. Then you to map those things. Then you will develop your own customized development environment. So everyone is different. There's a good and bad for this. So actually, of course, which means when you're doing pairing, your friend cannot use your machine. So yeah. So there are a few plugins that and I'm using currently. Ignore all these things because if you come back to this slide, if you are still keen, then you will know what am I talking. Else you don't need to. Because I just mentioned here because they are my daily driver kind of. I have some autocomplete. I believe that is built out of the box from all the current new modern editors like autocomplete, all these things. But for VIM, it's not. So actually, you need to extend it. And then for some syntaxing, syntax highlighting is not very useful for me, but I could understand why they are benefits for some developers. But I still do some of them. And then some spell check because I'm a typo master, so I always typo. So I need some spell check for myself, just to not annoy my fellow dev. Okay, there are other things for ease of typing. So okay, next one. Okay, project file navigation. Okay, let me go through. Okay, they are also quite straightforward. I have to be able to jump from current file to the previous file, back to the current file, at least in order I can perform my daily work efficiently. And then of course need the drawer and a quick file name searching, like a fuzzy file that I can just anyhow type anything, then it will appear and then let me select. Okay, I need this thing. And then okay, if you know that there are a lot of bad names about the tree, they are bloated kind of thing, but I cannot get rid of it. I'm still using it. It's a project drawer that will show a list of files, nothing fancy, just files. And then some fuzzy find for the control P, just like your control P. Your control P, you can just type anything and then you in. And then hello. And then of course the Tmux. Tmux is not a VIM thing. If anyone already kind of heard of it, Tmux is a multiplexer. It's like you just like item you can open off terminals of it. So they are all in one. So actually I use the Tmux for basically combine these two things. And then I have the navigator of the Tmux bridge between VIM and Tmux. That's a basic. Search and replace, as what I mentioned. I don't need a lot of whole code base search and replace. Most likely no need, but it must be fast enough. So maybe later we can show a bit of the searching kind of thing. But I kind of happy with the speed. So recently I changed from AG, a silver searcher, to RipRap. Yeah, because of I'm just by 2 weeks ago I switched from VIM to NVIM. So it's kind of like because I think it's a bit slow in VIM recently. I don't know why. So I switched to NVIM. NVIM is kind of like a rewritten VIM, but in Lua. So wait, did I go back? Oh, that's all. Yeah, okay. Hopefully it will not result in too much rubbish if I do search, right? Because sometimes if you search, right, if it's too powerful, you search all your node module. So you also don't want that to happen. Yeah. So next one, most likely the kind of last one. Source control, of course. I believe Git is in everyone's heart. I don't think anyone is still using SVN. Using SVN, go out. No. Anyhow, never mind. Okay. No, it's okay. I was using SVN. Okay, like some years ago. Yeah, but I think they're able to pull stash status diff is mainly enough suffice for my daily work. So I don't need those like complicated kind of a mechanism. If I need, I will most likely use the UI. So yeah, I like Git, Kraken, Quark. What else? Other thing. Okay, there are a few things that I can introduce if you're still coming back for the plugins and all these things. There are like say normally you use Visual Studio, you will see that when you highlight the line, they will have this who is the last guy that will actually edit this line, kind of like extra thing. But I would not set them up. I will only look them up if I want to. So it's yeah. Okay, of course, VIM is all very good, but of course it has its limitation. So there are a few limitations that I find it quite annoying most of the time. But as what I've said, I already know the impact already. So I have to eat the limitation also. Hey, wait. What is it? Okay. I didn't set the animation for this. Okay, search and replace for weird characters is a bit hard in Vim because I think that natively they will search using regular expression. I don't know how are you going to search a weird character with regular expression. You need a bunch of escape keys and all these things. Recently I tried to modify and set up a little bit if I could actually use the regrep to search fixed strings, which is without regular expression. Try to search the literal string. Yeah, I think it's kind of working. So I'm quite happy. And copy and paste issue for if you know that it's very hard for copy and paste from VIM terminal into somewhere else. I mean, in your host machine. And it's a bit, especially you're using Windows subsystem. It's okay. Now actually, if I'm using admin, it's considered easier already. So actually, yeah, you can just use clip ESC to run. Oh fuck! Sorry. Oh, shit. Sorry. Sorry. Okay. I believe you can edit it. Yeah. Limitation is visually compare if you want to take this hunk and then you want to put it into your mesh conflicts and all these things, especially if you have a long form that you are doing a lot of this thing, then you most likely want to use the UI for that. Okay, demo, I think I will put it under after next living presentation. Okay, I'm done. Basically, after the demo, I think, I will show you a bit of happiness. Happiness of what would I show a bit. So I will just show our daily workspace and what am I doing, how am I navigating in and out of this thing. Yeah, kind of. Thank you.
Okay, hi guys. Thanks for coming. I'm going to do some introduction to VIM and how does the VIM motion work. And I'm going to start my VIM. It's very easy to install VIM. I think it's about for all the platforms. But the easiest to install, I probably use Brew. If you are on Linux, probably you use Add Image because sometimes I work in remote and in remote environment, it's better to use Add Image for Linux, and it's pretty straightforward. Let me put up the Vim editor. So. Okay, this is my environment. Usually I use terminal only, and yeah. Let me put up the Vim first. It's pretty easy to start with Vim. We just type Vim, right? And let me load up some files so that I can go through all the motions that yeah. Let's go through. Oh, okay. It's very difficult to use mic with mouse. Okay. Oh, you hope for me. Wow, thanks. Okay, so this is how you put up Vim. You just write Vim, and most of the time, a lot of people start with Vim and they don't know how to close Vim. They can't exit, and that's a huge problem for the developers. And how you quit is by just typing column here and Q, or you can quit all the files by QA, or if you want to save, you type W. So that's how you do it. So let me quit for you, and then just put up again, and then load some files. Let's say task model erase. Okay. So let me go through the motions here, which I. Oops. Let's start with the basic motions. Vim use you can still use up, down, left, right keyboards. Yep. Right. So you still can use the navigation keys up, down, left, right. But once you start with your right hand holding on H, J, K, L, and if you most of the time your hand don't want to leave the main keys too far away from it, because it strain your hand, moving around, especially when you hold a mouse and so on. So the basic keys are H, J, K, L, which is let me show you. So you always want to hold it on here, which is J, K, which is up and down. You can see up and down here, right? So you can down fast and up very fast, and left, right with H and L. I'll say it's difficult to get started, but once you get used to it with the muscle memory, and slowly you will be you will never leave this key away, right? And yeah, so this is pretty straightforward. H for left, and L for right, J for down, K for up. The most important things that you want to do is that when you look at Vim, there's two modes that is pretty important. There's normal mode, and then there's an insert mode. And you always want to keep your keys in. I mean your what's that called? Your modes in normal mode. Most of the time you don't want to do insert mode. You don't want to touch any change. You don't want to change anything. And motion mode is where you move around, navigate around the Vim, and it's actually pretty important. And so if you can see my screen here on the bottom left, which is normal mode, that allows you to navigate around. And if it's insert mode, you can see that now it's insert mode, which I press the key I, and you can escape by pressing escape key. So I have a catalog key, which is escape, and you go back to normal mode. So use I for insert, or use A to insert too. So I is insert inside, A is insert on the right side, or on the right side. Of course, you want to move around the words. For example, so let's say you are in the normal mode. You want to jump from a word to a word by pressing W, which means words. Do mind that Vim is a programmable editor, which means every keys that they use has its own meaning. So just now we talked about I, A, and I is for insert, and now we are talking about W, jumping by W, which is word. And of course, you can jump by E. E is like the end of the word. So, and now I'm pressing B to go back to the previous keys that I pressed, previous words that I actually pressed. yeah. So later probably I will send you guys this document, share with you, and you can have a good overview on all this. So of course there are many motions keys. So let's start with those concepts of jumping around keys. Just now we talk about word. Let's say we jump one word. So one key is one word, right? One time, but you can jump multiple times. So it's the reason that I say it's programmable because it works like a function. So you tell the VIM to jump around. Let's say I want to jump around 5 words, so I just type 5W and you just jump 5 times, right? So and that's how you navigate. It's the same as going up and down. So if you want to go down for 5 times, let's say now you go down for 5 times, so you just type 5 and down. So that's the meaning of motions. So it's programmable because you can instruct it to do whatever you want to do. So you can even say 5 words go inside. So 5I, right? So of course, there are some keys that is you can take note with, which is like you want to go back to the top, which is called GG. Go back, and then of course, capital G goes down to the bottom, last line. Yeah, exactly. So and there are some additional keys that allow you to jump quickly or navigate around very fast, which is like H. You can press H is at top, and then M for middle, and then you have low at bottom, L, which is L key. So all these keys are pretty straightforward. It's just that and it has own meaning. It's just that once you get used to the motion, the memories of your muscle, then you will get used to it and so on. There are some key maps that is pretty, I would say, pretty useful. For example, let's say if I have an error in my language here. Let's say if I type. So you can see on the left, there's an error message showing that on line around line 12 and 13. So sometimes you forget about it. You can jump quickly by pressing bracket and go. So it will jump back to the error location, and then you can just edit quickly. Yeah, that's I guess that's the motion. I'll send you guys this document that I asked ChatGPT to write one. So okay. Hello. Okay. Sorry, I have not introduced myself. I'm a front-end developer at Href. Yeah, it's been there for about 9 years. So most of the time we are writing in a language called OCaml and Reason ML as front end. So I started with those traditional tools like Atom and then WebStorm, IntelliJ basically, and then moved to VS Code, and then to NeoVim. By the way, NeoVim is the same as Vim, just that NeoVim preset some settings for you once you install so that you can get stuck quickly. And NeoVim is written in Lua, which is much faster than the traditional Vim, and it is more easy for you to program, which means you can write plugins, you can map whatever keys you want with Lua language, which is probably easier than the VIM script itself. So at first I was hesitant to switch to, with the VIM navigation without using the mouse, and then all is terrible, right? Because we are used to the, VS Code style, copy paste, right? But it's difficult to learn VIM at the beginning. And Kang was actually the one that forced me to not force, but it's kind of like push me forward to VIM, and that's how I got it. So I started with VIM in VS Code, install a VIM in VS Code, and then but then you start to realize that it's very slow, it's slowish, it's complicated with all the missing of keys and mouse, and then my hand become, like this, there's a bone that bounces up because you use too much. I pressed too hard on the key, yes. I don't know, maybe because recently I read an article like you're supposed to be floating on the keys, your hands, what's that called? Waist shouldn't be holding on the table. You should be floating. I don't know how you guys type, so I pressed too much on the table, and yeah, it's not very nice. And then every day I was like hearing voices from Ken, Vim, Vim, Vim. So okay, so let's just go to Vim and leave all the VS Code away, because VS Code is pretty slow, and Vim, and there's a missing of, for example, if you want to copy some words, right? In Vim, or in VS Code, usually just drag your mouse, highlight the keys, highlight the words, and then Control C, right? Command C, Super C, or whatever, to copy and paste. But then it's too complicated, because, like I said, you don't want to move too far away from these few keys, right? Because it's painful. It strains your hand. Yeah. So there are a few plugins that I can't live without it. Git, how do I pronounce this? Fugitive, right? Is one of the most important Git plugins. And just now Cam mentioned that he has problem with merging with Git, but Git Fugitive actually has a function called Git split, three-way splitting. So it's actually very, very powerful, and it's very lightweight, I think. And other tools like COC Vim, which probably I'll do a demo in later, and COC Explorer, which is the file structures, like your VS Code, you have the files and on the left screen, and so on. Telescope is where I search for files, and Telescope is actually the good thing is that it excludes all the, let's say if you have an environment that has a Git ignore, and all the ignore, it reads the ignore file, and then it ignores all the redundant files, and you just search for whatever that is supposed to be searched. But you can still include it if you want to, right? So I use recently I replaced with some LSP to Mason. Mason is pretty cool. It helps you install any LSP and update pretty straightforward and fast. Most of the time I'm doing remote editing, and which means my environment is in the remote. Let's take AWS server, for example. So most of the time I don't use my own PC or my own laptop to do all the work, because it's very slow. The remote server has a better built system than your PC, and of course, the things like Tmats has been used like forever, and Tmats work very well on the remote, because you don't need to leave away from the environment, the session. If you close your computer, you will still be there. So you just go back to your remote environment and then Tmax back to whatever you have been left over. Maybe Ken can do a demo first, then I'll probably follow up with my environment on all the things that I've been using and all this. Yep.
I need my I need the keyboard there. the laptop keyboard is not set up. I don't think I need that space. I can
Yeah, you can use that.
on the floor. Yeah. Anyway. Because I don't think it has maybe. Okay. Okay, cool. I need to share my screen. Okay, I will just share everything. I don't know if I could share you, but it's a bit like I make it huge. Hopefully, I get huge enough. Yeah, that's my max already. Hello. Okay. This is me. Yeah, this is my boring terminal. It's Tmax. It's inside Tmax. Actually, I might not need this mic. It's one of the workspace that I'm currently working. You can see that that's for Meetup. So on the right hand side is my Meetup. So actually, normally I will be open up all the projects that I have on the below. So I will just switch between them. So let's say I'm working on a Jira issue. I will be like that. This slow, sorry, let's say I'm working on my color scheme. Then I have my two tab here. Then I have other thing. I have my, let's say I'm working on my feature. Then under mom, I'm from mom. So I say. So let's say I should look at here. Yeah, let's say I'm working on the feature like 8, 6, 5 things. Then I have a few things. So actually, I group my space like a whole. Then I don't need to jump, because one repo could actually under multiple edits. Sorry. Yeah, I see. Oh, okay. Yeah, I try my best. Yeah, I maybe I quickly show you my normal way of working. Let's say I go to I just download this View Create app. I don't know if it works, but I try my best. Okay. So actually, every time I go into repo, I will see all the previous using files that I have. This is good one of the plugin that I'm using. So actually, I will go back to what previously I opened. So actually, let's say I go to this spec, right? I saw that I go to the spec file, the test file, right? Then I can see it directly. So actually, as what I mentioned that, let's say I go, this is drawer, I need it. I don't know why, but yeah. Okay, and then I will see some other file, and then I want to go back to my previous file. So I can just go back to my previous file, and then I can go forth like that. So actually, Vim gives you a very intuitive kind of way to toggle between buffer. They call it files as a buffer. So actually, you are like you are going Control O is to go out, Control I is to go in. So actually, you go in. You can keep going in, and then you can keep going out. Basically, like a recursive stack like that. You go in, then you can revert back. So you can keep jumping inside a reference, go into the function, then go into other place, then you can go back to where you begin with. So that's one of the way. Then second one is I try this Vim. This is literally the Vim source code I pull out from the GitHub one. So actually, I try this file, right? And then normally my search, right, would be like that. I have an underline quick link to search. Let's say in the Vim repo, most likely if I search Vim, then most likely a lot. I assume that a lot. Okay, let's try. Okay, I enter, and then I see the result. The result actually is 50K of Vim found. The word found. Actually, I believe that is fast enough for me. So actually, I think it's good because I don't need to replace them, but most likely I want to look for them. Right? So actually, if I search through a code base that have a lot of similar words, right, I want them together in one place, so I can sort through this kind of thing. So normally, after I search, I most likely want to filter because of 50K. I don't want to see 15K result. Okay, so normally I will use another plugin to say, oh, I just want to keep all the file that with TXT. Then it will reduce it back to like 20K. Then I slowly filter. Then I know that what's up until a filter point that I want to. Then I can just go into a file and do my editing. That's my normal way to do this thing. So yes, and then because our current structure is like I have a project folder. Inside a project folder, we are running a lot of mono repo. They are like so far I think around is like 130 repo inside. So actually, if I want to search a whole entire thing, I could, and it's fast. So actually, that's one of the good thing I'm using. And then I already showed you the Tmax thing, and then the other one is version control. I believe this one have a version control. Okay, I didn't change anything, of course. Let's say I go back to the one that I have. Okay, this one. This one is a test file. Normally, like just Tammy mentioned regarding testing, we do a lot of unit testing. So actually, we also want it to be fast to test, right? So actually, when I write a test inside here, I normally open a test, and then on that particular that test itself. So actually, I know that at least that test won't fail. So when I'm working on it, I just want to focus on that test. So yeah, I could, right? Normally for JavaScript, right, you can just like focus F this guy, and then you can just focus it. Also can, just a different workflow. So and then other thing is like autocomplete, right? Autocomplete, I have a like that. I also have autocomplete So normally I will use autocomplete for especially console, because we type console like day in and day out. So like console, I have my own console. So actually this is pulling from, okay, what's the file that you're currently in, and then you just need to give it the variable that you want to print. So that's a kind of like quick way to do all the snippet and autocomplete. And that's for testing and navigation. And then yeah, and then the other one is okay, just give me one moment and then I try to add something. Okay, let's say I add this one. Then normally if I add it in, I will have, oh, this is not a bit report. Oh, I say I put it, I just create Vim. I think I could try Vim. Okay, I'm in here. Then let's say I change something. I don't know what I changed. I save it. Then I look at it. Oh, then I see there's a file change, right? So actually I can look at it. What is the diff between left and right? So like just I mentioned, Max mentioned that actually there are three-way split. Is when I try to resolve, then we open up a three-way split. But that one I think it's harder to test. It's hard to try now because I need to change something, I need to pull something, and then it will create the okay. But roughly you know the idea. It's like okay, I see the left hand side, I see the right hand side. Then actually if I don't want, actually they are grouped by hung. So actually you know that this hung currently has from nothing to have something. So if I don't want it, right, I just say to take it from the other side. So I take it on my side. So I just revert back to the thing. It's just like that. Then I can save it and then I stage it. So actually it's that individual hung I still can do manipulation. So you see that okay, this one actually I can open up what is the changes that I added in this thing. I can add a line and then I stage it. I only stage that bit. You will see. Okay, let me try. Let me try to edit two places. Most likely far enough. Then I will look into it. Then just now the one that I staged is under the stage. The not stage is still not staged. Then I can only commit the one that I want to. So actually you can look at which one. I believe that for source tree, all these things, you can do this kind of thing. You can even click on it or which one you use to select. It's still the same basically. It's just a different workflow. And then the other one is editing. Okay. Editing for Vim actually, I would say that because there are so many ways to achieve certain thing. For a block of changes, right? Normally I would use I still use the visual, because I found that this visual is helped me a lot, because when I'm doing pairing, right, at least I know that if I'm doing remote, they can see what am I doing, instead of, because Vim can let you do a certain block of thing without you even seeing the cursor moving. So I might not know, because I want to say that, oh, I want to change in a block. I just CIB, then I can change the block, but people will not know. So I need to literally highlight it. I change the block, then I see, I can change it. So they would actually at least have a visual cue that, oh, okay, you are changing the block. Instead of you, they don't know what you're doing. So yeah, that's it. And then I have some key mapping, I would say. Oh no, okay, it's a default one. Actually, you can jump down a certain page quickly, or jump up a certain page quickly. So I seldom use the motion, I would say, because every time you want to count, it's very taxing for me. Let's say I want to jump 5 words, then I do 5W. It's a bit too much. So I will just use left like that. I still can, because it's not an arrow key, it's still a HIJK. I mean HJK actually. But I make the repeat faster. So on my system, so I will just basically achieve the same thing instead of I www and bang, can of course, but that's not my thing. I'm not believing in a super purist. So as long as you find your balance, then I think it's good enough for you. I think roughly that's it. Anything that you want to CC or you want to check how I do? Huh? Is it? Actually, okay. Let's see. I most likely cannot show the code, but if you have any, I will try. Let me try. Let's say you have this mount. You know that the mount is from B-test, most likely. I don't know. I mean, actually, you can go into the library, of course, but most likely you don't know what they say lah. So I would not touch the library at this point. I only would like create a new repo just for that purpose, and then you can just jump out back. You can jump over and jump back. Default, there are already some Omni function that you can auto-complete, but there are always extensions that you want to tune. So actually, because you might need to Control X, Control C in order to do complete, but it's a bit hard, I would say. That's just like what Max mentioned, right? Actually, before this, right, I was using Tmax to just connect to a remote. Yes, I used the Tmax. So the session actually is quite good, because like you close your laptop, you don't need to care about the thing being closed down. When you open up, you join it back to the session, you attach it back to the session, then you can continue working. So I think that's yes, because they Vim and NeoVim, actually the requirement is actually quite low, I would say. So actually you still can run it quite efficiently. Yeah. So I am done. Cool. Thank you.
Okay, cool. It's my time to show off my system or Vim. So same as Max, same as Ken, I have Tmax booted up. As you can see that this is Tmax with the environment. I can create multiple environments. So let's say if I create a new one, which is let's type Command B, C. So you can create a new Tmax session, which is on, you see that, which is 3. So now you can change the name change the name to this meetup. Right. So of course, TMAT is pretty cool. Like Ken say, once it's attached to a session, if you work on remote or some environments that never close your computer or never shut down your computer, and you can just go back to your previous session. So I usually split them into top and bottom, so I can just do Command B and dash, which is split horizontally. And of course, you can do vertically by Command B and Shift dash. I can exit this environment that I need. I boot up a VIM in this project called PR token, which is my own project. So I use telescope. So this is telescope. The different thing that the way that I search for files and from Ken is that telescope allows you to do a search in text, or you can also load files. So and of course there are many other things, like you can just check out the the telescope thing, like telescope. So they provide quite a lot of things, like even like key maps. So it allows you to check which key that you have bind to. For example, I have bind CN in a COC function. So it's telescope is really useful, and it's much readable than the traditional way of searching. And you can install it and play around. So let me load out the file, and then we can see how I use in my work environment. So do task model. So as you can see, that I'm writing in a language called Rescript. It's very similar to JavaScript and React of Rescript. So there are some types. So I have some files structure that is I press space E. I bring up my folder, which is in this VIM that I open. Whichever environment, whichever folder that you open up VIM with, it will be stored in this buffer. And you can see that on top, I have a buffer file name. It's called taskmodel.res. I can open up another file, let's say readme, right? And then you can navigate around by using J or K. Do mindful that this is not the tab. In VS Code, all the files that you open is just a tab, but in VIM it's called buffer. So of course, you can check out all the buffers by reading buffers. There's a buffers here in 1 and 39. I can exit a buffer by doing BD, delete a buffer. And yeah, so that's my environment. But just now I mentioned that there are a few modes to note that in Vim we have normal mode, but we also have visual mode. Visual mode is where you want to highlight things. So let's say you want to highlight the first word, which is this is. I'm not sure if you can see. Can see the highlight? Oh yeah, you can see the highlight. So this is visual mode, and there's another one called block. Visual mode is like selecting a line or multiple lines or whatever. So you have block modes which allow you to do block selecting. Can you see that I'm selecting a block from up to down till this block, and then I can select this block. So the good thing about the block editing is that you can edit multiple block of text that you want to edit. I can straight away go into insert mode by typing first character hello, and then when I escape, it will repeat the rest of the highlighted blocks. So this is block mode, which is very, very useful. So there are a few plugins that I use, which is just now I mentioned buffer line. Not buffer line. I'll show you some plugins that I use regularly, and just, let me go to the plugins. And one of the Git stuff that I use is called Lazy Git. I used to use a lot of source tree, and it's actually very very cool. I mean, very nice because it's GUI. You can use a mouse drag around, stash or whatever you want to stash. But you don't have this kind of GUI in Terminal. So there's a it's not just a Vim plugin, but it's also Terminal. What's it called? Terminal tools, right? So you can let me open up the Lazy Git, which is very intuitive. You can see that on the status, you have all the changes that you did on first screen, and go to the next screen, which is your branch, and so on, and then commit. Of course, you can go back to go insert into the changes that you did on this file and jump inside. And so if you are not familiar, you can just type question mark. It will bring up all the keys that you can use, and it's quite useful for me. As you can see that I have buffer line installed, so I can jump from previous buffer to the next buffer quickly by navigating in Command J and Command K. So it's pretty fast for me and to go around. Of course, you can, if you want to open a new tab, just tab new. But this is different from buffer. Tab and buffer is very different, and buffer is like let's say if you jump out of your Vim, exit, when you go back to your Vim file again, the buffer is still there, so you can still do like undo, redo again, or whatever things that you have done before. So this is very useful. The few things that I use as pretty similar to Ken. We have COC, which let's say if I type something let, and then you can see that there's a autocomplete showing up in which is here, and of course the same as if you have a LSP install, it will show you the reference, the types, and all this for you. So yeah, it's quite nice. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's about my environment. If you are interested, we can explore more together. So yeah, okay, cool. Okay, thanks. Yeah.
Okay. I will try to be as quick as I can. Okay. Thanks again to our speakers, Tammy, Ken, and Li Ping. Yeah, thanks a lot for the sharing. A few announcements. Number one, there is a conference happening on. Let me try and reduce this one. Okay. If you're into Java, this is probably where it's at, I think. Yeah, so there is a conference happening on 13th of April, 4 to 8 p.m. at Mapletree Business City. So yeah, it's quite cheap, $5. So it's really the opportunity to meet some the folks behind Java. So if you're still doing Java or about to do Java, this is probably a good meetup to go. There's a meetup group as well. So you can go check out their website, singajug.org, and let's see. Yeah, so previously these are the same folks who did a conference called Vox Days, and during COVID they didn't do anything, so now I want to get back into it. So yeah, Java Heroes Singapore is the conference they're trying to do. Check out their website, singajug.org. The conference ticket is very cheap, $5 only. So go check that out. I've got a picture. Good. Next is okay. So I know that a bunch of us are really interested, or rather, the talk just now was quite intense, and because you can't see their finger work, that's a little bit crazy. So pro tip: if you're learning Vim, just remember the culture. Remember all the verbal terms like back, just BBB back, word, next word, or like what my most favorite one is CIW. Any guesses what that is? CIW. Change in word, correct. So every single command is a letter. It's an abbreviation. So just remember the culture, remember the wording. So like what I used to do is I just pronounce it, say to myself as I try it. So that burns into my muscle memory as well. So yes. There's also a good way when you're pairing with someone to share your keystrokes with them. Just say CIW, change in word, or something like that, right? So or GG, or go to the top, or something like that. Yeah. So it's usually okay. Anyway, scan this QR code. There's a feedback form. If you really like what you see tonight and you really want to learn more about Cucumber or Vim, put in the section on any overall feedback for the event. Just say I want to learn Vim. I want to learn BDD. Right, and then we'll try and organize a workshop for you. One of the other activities that we run in JuniorDev is Developers Gym, where on Saturdays we'll come together and do some coding workshops together. So I'm sure some of you have been to our coding dojos before, where we do a bit of coding, try to solve some coding puzzles together. So yeah, we'll probably want to do a workshop. There are also other coding related. For example, you want to learn Vim, we can learn Vim together. You want to learn about Cucumber or BDD, let's do that, right? So the idea here is to skill you up, give you all knowledge that make you useful in your work. I'm sure a lot of you may not have the opportunity to learn on the job. You're just churning out JavaScript or whatever, but you want to learn some new skills, and we've got you set, man. So I'm trying to be cool, but I'm not very cool, but it's okay. So check it. Scan this right in there. Let us know if you're really keen on this, or tell us what other workshops you'd like to learn. You want to learn Kubernetes? Let us know. You want to learn about DevOps, CI/CD? Let us know, right? So we can probably set up something for you, right? So yeah, I got friends who can teach awesome skills. So yeah, so that's all I can say. Okay. With that, we got this scan. Okay, all good. Okay, yeah, that's all for tonight. Bye. Thank you, and thanks again to Rakuten for hosting us. Thank you, Zoe, and sorry, what was your